We'll be looking now at part 2, which is illicit drugs. And again, it's a presentation of the Maloney Seventh-day Adventist Men's Ministry. Part 1 was an overview of alcohol and drug dependence. So we'll continue. Employment. According to the National Institute of Drug Abuse, nearly 75% of all adult illicit drug users are employed, as are most binge and heavy alcohol users. Studies show that when compared with non-substance abusers, substance abusing employees are more likely to change jobs frequently, be late to or absent from work, be less productive employees, be involved in a workplace accident, and file a workers' compensation claim. Now, what are the realities of drug use? Not everyone who uses drugs will become addicted. Co-workers and friends are most likely to encourage the affected individual to use illicit drugs. And pride often prevents the individual from acknowledging that he or she has a problem. Let's look at marijuana. Marijuana refers to the dried leaves, flowers, stems, and seeds from the hemp plant Cannabis sativa, which contains the psychoactive, which is mind-altering chemical delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, THC, as well as other related compounds. Marijuana is the most common illicit drug used in Trinidad and Tobago. Much debate is being generated within recent times over the drug's legal status. The debate has since reached Trinidad and Tobago. Marijuana is addictive. About 1 in 6 people who start using as a teen, and 25 to 50% of people who use it every day become addicted to marijuana. Marijuana affects the brain, altering memory, judgment, and motor skills. And some of the acute effects are euphoria, relaxation, slowed reaction time, distorted sensory perception, impaired balance and coordination, increased heart rate and appetite, impaired learning, memory, anxiety, panic attacks, and psychosis. And among the health risks are cough, frequent respiratory infections, possible mental health decline, addiction. Those who start young are at increased risk for later problems. Suicidal thoughts, mental health problems such as depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts among adolescents, and personality disturbances, including a lack of motivation. What about the unborn child? Marijuana and pregnancy. Marijuana use during pregnancy is associated with increased risk of neurobehavioral problems in babies. Because THC and other compounds in marijuana mimic the body's own endocannabinoid chemicals, marijuana used by pregnant mothers may alter the developing endocannabinoid system in the brain of the fetus. Consequences for the child may include problems with attention, memory, and problem solving. An injury. A recent analysis of data from several studies found that marijuana use more than doubles a driver's risk of being in an accident. The combination of marijuana and alcohol is worse than either substance alone with respect to driving impairment. Let's look briefly at cocaine. Cocaine is a powerfully addictive stimulant drug made from the leaves of the coca plant native to South America. It produces short-term euphoria, energy, and talkativeness, in addition to potentially dangerous physical effects like raising heart rate and blood pressure. The acute effects are increased heart rate, blood pressure, body temperature, metabolism, feelings of exhilaration, increased energy, mental alertness, tremors, reduced appetite, irritability, anxiety, panic, paranoia, violent behavior, and psychosis, and health risks, weight loss, insomnia, cardiac or cardiovascular complications, stroke, seizures, addiction, nasal damage from snorting. But it's crack. Crack is a form of cocaine that has been processed to make a rock crystal, also called freebase cocaine, that can be smoked. Cocaine and the brain. Cocaine is a strong central nervous system stimulant that increases levels of the neurotransmitter dopamine in brain circuits, regulating pleasure and movement. With repeated use, cocaine can cause long-term changes in the brain's reward system as well as other brain systems, which may lead to addiction. Tolerance to cocaine also often develops with many cocaine abusers reporting that they seek but fail to achieve as much pleasure as they did from their first exposure. This can also increase the risk of adverse psychological or physiological effects. Risk when using cocaine. HIV. People who use cocaine also put themselves at risk of contracting HIV even if they do not share needles or other drug paraphernalia. This is because cocaine intoxication impairs judgment and can lead to risky sexual behavior. Injecting cocaine can bring about severe allergic reactions and increased risk for contracting HIV, hepatitis C, and other blood-borne diseases. Treatment services. Besides religious and non-governmental organizations offering treatment services for persons with addiction problems, the Ministry of Health offers addiction treatment at a number of facilities throughout the country, notably the Substance Abuse Prevention and Treatment Center at the Cora Hospital. Telephone number there is 662-2211. You do not need to make an appointment, and assessment and treatment are free. You can also enroll in an Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous program. What is enabling? When family members, friends, and co-workers cover up for an individual. When medical practitioner treats individual for false physical complaints, what you call presenting problem. And family members believe that problems are caused by evil, example, jealousy, phobia, spiritual forces, etc. And the types of treatment include aversion treatment, antipsychotic drugs, antidepressant drugs, sedative hypnotic drugs, non-narcotic analgesic drugs, acupuncture therapy, behavioral therapy, and relaxation. This is the 12 steps to recovery, which is practiced by both AA, NA, and other self-help groups. We admitted we were powerless over our addiction, that our lives had become unmanageable. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs, and were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings, made a list of all persons we had harmed, and became willing to make amends to them all, made direct amends to such people, except when to do so would injure them or others. Continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, praying only for His will for us and the power to carry that out. And having had a spiritual awakening, as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and addicts and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Here is the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. What your church can do. Have regular workshops in personal and professional training, parental skills, coping skills, stress management, alcohol and drug education, etc. Encourage alcohol and drug-free activities. Support national drug education and prevention programs, and work with them to build a healthy and drug-free nation.